Welcome, bienvenue. Welcome once again to an amazing live stream with Karen Bashford, Empowerment Mentor. This is called the Karen Bashford Show, and it's focused on helping people. I would say the majority of which tend to be ladies in midlife, but they could be anybody, frankly, who is perhaps needs to find a way and a mode to empower themselves. I would say Karen doesn't empower you. She holds a mirror up to what you are and to allow you to see the positivity that can come within. Now, today's topic is really a case in point, even with the blood moon last night and the full moon today. But let's put that to one side because we've acknowledged that it can have an effect. But it's all about keeping motivated. So I'm going to throw this straight at you. Karen, how do you stay motivated?
Good question, and at times it's hard, I admit, especially as I live on my own, so I have nobody really to talk to or anything like that, unless obviously I pick up a friend or send a text message or something. But for me, keeping motivated is my why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I living the way I'm living? What is it that I want to achieve for myself and for my clients and the people that I love? And that's my motivation. My predominant one is my legacy. Leaving my legacy.
Well, it's more than that, actually, because it's not just your legacy. It's the ever-widening group of people that you've positively affected by allowing them to heal themselves. And on top of that, some of the works which are we allowed to talk about them yet? Okay. There's a wonderful project that is in the offing. It's almost there, which is going to help groups of people to positively improve their lives and to see things as they truly are. And that is also part of your legacy, if I could say so. It's not just that. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it really is. It's something you put a lot of effort into that will affect other people positively. Do you find it a struggle sometimes? Moon phases and all the rest of it can have an effect on us. Plus, solstices and all the rest of the things that can really affect mood. Do you find it a struggle sometimes to work through that and still see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel?
I have been known to actually do very little work on moon periods when the moon is in full or new, simply because I don't have that energy. I don't have that the drive within me to actually do it. It's like it's a time of stepping back, reviewing, reflecting, and then making plans to go forward. And I find that on a moon or a full moon, both of which are a time of reflection and reviewing, but also planning forward. When they hit me, I cannot do very much at all. And I'm the first to admit it, which is generally why I'm on into the moon, because I know that it's time when I should not book important calls, because I won't have the motivation to deal with them in the way I normally do. Yesterday is a prime example. I was supposed to do a podcast, but surprisingly enough, the lady who was involved in it actually reached out to me and said, should we postpone it? And I'm sitting there thinking, yes! I will never let
today was a hard day, I think, for me as well. It was constantly, I had to constantly, I was out, and so every other hour I would be outside barefoot on the grass, walking up and down and saying, don't worry, we'll get through this. The moon is there. You'll get through it and you'll come out the other side and we'll carry on. I had to keep doing that. I had to keep grounding myself. I had to keep making myself think, don't worry, look forward. It's coming now. You can make it happen. because otherwise it was so easy just to lapse into, ugh. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the way I work it is like yesterday I had to do a whole load of short videos because I promised my VA I'd get them to her before the end of the week. So I did them, I got them done, and it was like, just do them, Karen, just get them done, because then they're off your plate and you can sit back and rest for a bit. Then I had to do the podcast on Monday. So I got that done, but it was a case of just focusing on achieving that and then accepting that it was okay to just let go and do something else that didn't involve me focusing very hard. I'm still working through a part of the project that is hopefully going to be announced by August, because I'm still waiting on a trademark certificate. But I'm still working through that. So I would go to do that for, say, 10, 15 minutes, and then I'd have to stop and walk away because I just couldn't concentrate. But it's the motivation to know that even if I only did 10 to 15 minutes worth of work, I was still fulfilling what I wanted to achieve. And that's, helping other people, women, men, children even, to improve their lives in ways that they perhaps couldn't do if they aren't aware of what they're really thinking and what they really believe.
It's such an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Outside forces that you have no control over are trying, well, I don't think that's the intention. I'm not putting any intent there, but the effect, because we are water beings after all, 75% of us is water, and we get a natural pull when the moon is nearby and when it's pulling at us. And that seems to have, not with everybody, but with certain people who are more sensitive than not. I'm definitely sensitive to it. Heather is definitely sensitive. My wife is definitely sensitive. She whenever, and you can always tell when the moon's like that, she's dreadfully emotional. She was sat there, we were eating dinner, and she stopped eating and tears were rolling down her face. And I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I'm not entirely sure." And I said, "It's a moon thing, isn't it?" And she said, "Oh yeah, probably." and that's the thing. I think we have to almost accept that some things are out of our control, work through them, come out the other side, and just try and remember that what we stand for, and that when we come out the other side, we'll just keep forging ahead. But it must be difficult, Karen, though, especially for people who don't necessarily acknowledge that it exists, for them to suddenly feel that their world has been upturned and the rest of it for no apparent reason. And how do you carry on days like that?
If you're not aware of the moon energy, you're just going to be very confused and not understand what's going on. And potentially that will make it worse for you, because until you know what is causing something, you don't know how to deal with it.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. I remember, because I used to suffer this periodically, and I used to think I had some sort of weird virus. That it was just sitting there latent every so often, coming out and saying hello, and knocking me for six. And then when you told me about this, and I started monitoring it and seeing that there was definitely a regularized pattern, that I thought, well, actually, it makes me feel a lot better in some ways.
Because you know.
Yeah.
And it's known that causes us the most worry. So when you realize that actually the moon has that kind of impact on us, you can allow for it. You knew yesterday that you had to go and ground yourself because that was the only way you were going to get through the day. But today you're a lot better. You're not having to go and ground yourself, but at least you knew that. So you can deal with it. You have choices. But when you don't know what's going on, where are your choices? You're just sitting there absolutely confused, not understanding that I'm feeling rubbish and I don't know why. So how do you get through that? It's just a big push constantly to try and get through it. Whereas when you know that it's the moon energy, you recognize, well, actually, I can step back. I can slow down because this is what nature makes me do. And it is nature, nothing else. You're not doing anything wrong. Your body's just responding to nature.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Whether no matter how sophisticated we are, no matter how much science and technology we surround ourselves with, nature wins through. Nature is always there, and nature doesn't care that you have a mobile phone. Nature doesn't care that you use Google Drive. Nature doesn't care about any of
that. Absolutely. All it knows is it's going through the moon cycles, and this is the day that it needs to be present in your life.
That's it. And it will happen whether you like it or not. There's no rhyme nor reason to it except for that. And I think this is the interesting thing, actually. I was going to talk to you about this. This is all about acceptance. Once you know what the reason for something, that you just need to accept it and move on. And I think the people that cause themselves perhaps the most fun with this are ones that either won't accept it, or if they accept it, then start asking, why is it happening to me? Without realizing it's happening to everyone equally, and some people are more sensitive to it than others. That's just an accident of birth, I guess.
It's an accident of birth, but also I think it also depends on how much you connect to yourself and know yourself. Because the more you know yourself, the more you're open to connecting to universal energies. Right. And obviously, the moon is a universal energy. If you're one of these people that are very logical, won't accept that you have intuition, you're going to struggle, simply because the moon is part of your intuition, because it impacts you so much. So yeah, you really need to get to know yourself, and this is what I'm all about, is educating and supporting people getting to know themselves, because when you know yourself, you can make different decisions.
All right. So look, today's topic was when you're afflicted by this and you want to walk away. So my question to you is, can you give us any tips for what you should do if you feel that coming on? Because I've never known a person to see it coming on without recognizing that it's happened. So you recognize this is happening. What do you do then?
Well, the first thing you do is to actually accept that this is what's going to happen today, or over a 4-day period, actually, because most moon energies last 4 days. So that will have an impact on you. Knowing that that is what's going on, first off, you have to look at what you've got to do, because obviously your energy levels are going to fluctuate. So knowing yourself allows you to work out what are the best times in the day to actually focus on what really needs to be done.
Right. Okay.
I know yesterday that me trying to do something at 10 o'clock in the morning was not going to work. Lunchtime, yeah, I can get away with 12 to 1. I know that I can do work then and I'll get work done. But 10 o'clock in the morning, forget it. It's just not, I'm going to be sitting here looking at the screen and thinking, what am I supposed to be doing?
I remember feeling a similar thing around about 10 o'clock yesterday, thinking, I came in here to do something. I knew I was supposed to do it, and I'm looking at the screen, it's looking back at me, and nothing's happening.
Yeah. But it's knowing yourself, knowing your own physical reactions. And if you've got that in place already, you're halfway to managing your day. Because you'll know that at 10 o'clock in the morning, well, you might as well go and have breakfast, because that's the best thing to do. Or at 12 o'clock, when you've got all this energy, just get on with the work.
I think there's a lot of sensible expectation setting that needs to go on. I think you people need to, I was going to say forgive themselves, but I don't think that's the right thing. I think they need to allow themselves to not be in control at all times. I think that's the hardest thing, isn't it? That
there's control.
There's an illusion. No, you go allow. There is an illusion of control, right? There is an illusion of control, and then every so often, nature or the universe comes and smacks you around the chops and said, "You thought you were in control." Nah.
You're never in control. The only thing you can be in control is your own actual emotions. And that's what you're doing. You're dealing with all that energy, your emotions, and how you're feeling. Because being water-based, obviously the moon is going to impact you. It impacts the tides. So how can it not impact us? So it's taking that awareness and utilizing it to your best advantage. Don't punish yourself because you don't get something done, for God's sake. It doesn't matter. You can come and do it. In actual fact, sometimes just walking away, you come back far more refreshed and are able to get things done so much more quickly and actually logically than if you actually try and push through, because you're forcing a situation to occur that isn't going to work. So why not just accept that actually it's okay to walk away? I can come back to this and I'll get it done.
Yeah. Yes. It's okay to walk away as long as you are allowing yourself to come back to it later. I think that's critical. And on that moment, I'm just going to switch into salesman mode, but not really. I just want to first of all draw your attention to the fact that if you want to start your wellness journey, one of the best ways would be by talking to Karen Bashford. And I mean, going to her website, karenbashford.com. It's a really good place to find more about how you can be more intuitive and intuit into yourself what is really going on. And as I said, Karen will help you hold a mirror up to yourself so that you can do exactly that. It needs someone who understands a bit more than yourself to help you do that, I think, in many cases. Now, there's one other thing that Karen does, and I know this because I edit it, which is she produces a excellent podcast, very enjoyable, and you don't have to be female to listen to it, called the Empowered Women Life Leaders Podcast. There we are. There's the QR code in the corner. I would say, even though that points to Podbean, I think you can go and get it on wherever you want. If you type in Empowered Women Life Leaders Podcast, Karen Bashford, you'll find her on Apple Music, you'll find it on Amazon Music, you'll find it on, I think, even BBC, all over the place. So go and have a listen. It's well worth it, and I think you'll find yourself refreshed out of it. Now, they're a mixture between her own musings, which are great, but also where she interviews other notable people about what they do. Some of them will bring tears to your eyes. Others will make you want to punch the air. So I recommend giving a good listen. They're good stuff. And they're now available as videos on the Empowered Women Life Leaders podcast on YouTube. So you can see them on both. But I prefer the audio because I can then do something else while I'm listening to it. It's an excellent listen. And they're only about, 20 minutes, half an hour each. So it's not like it's going to take a vast amount out of your day, but it will give you perhaps the boost. I know at least one person who listens to one every morning. There's one coming out. They come out every Monday at 12 o'clock. So watch out then. They are well worth listening to. Thank you so much, Karen Bashford. Karen's been a positive influence in my life, and I'm not saying that just because I work with her, but because she really has. And she can be a positive influence in yours as well. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, but please do look after that mental health. Until next week, bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye.